And joining us now is our good friend Stephanie Grisham. Stephanie, it's great to see you. Stephanie, this is my wife, Ann. Stephanie Grisham. Stephanie, you probably don't remember having to get up at 3:30 a.m. to allow us to get into Trump Tower. Those 3 days we were
That was me. Am I putting these on?
Yes.
Okay.
You had to get us at 4 a.m. for 3 days and escort us into Trump Tower, where we did 3 days of our radio show right in the lobby. Remember that?
I hope I was pleasant.
Oh, you were pleasant. You were so happy to be there at 5 a.m. every day. But thank you for doing that.
Yes.
And look, Stephanie Grisham is with us. Stephanie is the Chief Communications Director for the President of the United States and the Press Secretary for POTUS here at the White House. Stephanie, great to have you with us.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
You know, Stephanie, I just want to say thanks for coming on my show.
Yes.
I really appreciate it. Because what you're able to do when you come on is really give our audience, which is blue-collar, working Americans, a real understanding of what is going on at the White House with the president, with your administration. And that insight, that insider view that you give is reassuring to people who see this impeachment thing, Stephanie, every day, and they just can't believe it because their vote is basically trying to get overturned.
Yeah, I will say my mother lives in Nebraska. My little sister lives in Kansas. My father lives in Colorado. We're a family of farmers. So they're always calling me and asking me, like, what's really going on? Because, of course, what they're seeing on the cable news is vastly different than, what the president's actually doing and working towards.
So as you work through these impeachment hearings, and so far we just have to read the transcript, and there's nothing there. We had 2 days of U.S. diplomats. I'm going to call them crybaby whiners because they don't like the president's policies. But a lot of our audience, and I asked Hogan this, I'm going to ask you also, a lot of our audience can't understand. They don't support the president's policies. They serve at the pleasure of the president. He won the election on an America First foreign policy. Why are they still there? Why did Vindem get on an airplane, appreciate his service, why did he get on an airplane and go back to the Ukraine when he sat there with Adam Schiff for a day and said he disagrees with the president's policies?
I don't know what Hogan's answer will be compared to mine. Mine is very, very simplistic. As you guys know, during the campaign, we had a campaign that was fraction of the size of Hillary Clinton. So when we won and took office and got into the transition, the scope of how big this government is, it's quite overwhelming. I mean, the thousands and thousands of people who work in this government is overwhelming. So I think by a matter of just good sense, you have to leave a lot of people in their positions because they were doing it, they know what they're doing, especially people with countries like the Ukraine, right? Or any country, anybody who's a specialty in those countries. And we come in hoping that these people have the good intention that they just want to serve the country, no matter who the president is. And these are the kind of people who should, no matter what, policy differences or not, serve their president. And it's been very, very disheartening to see that these people have been working against our president. And I'll tell you, going back to kind of the whistleblower, right, where this all first started, the fact that his lawyer tweeted on the very first day when the president was inaugurated that a coup was about to take place and that he had to be taken out of office. I want that to get out to this country. I want it to be known that this has been something that has been in the works since day one. I mean, there was a Washington Post article in January 2017 that said the Democrats are already organizing a resistance the likes of which no other president has ever seen. That's something to really think about.
Well, it started at 2:30 in the morning on November 9th.
I agree.
That's when the resistance started.
I agree.
And remember the Saturday of the inauguration. The inauguration was a Friday. We were there for that, and we were staying in a hotel in, Tyson's Corner? We were at the Embassy Suites in Tyson's Corner, and it was packed with women going to that march. And that was Tyson's Corner is 45 minutes away. I mean, we barely got a room, and so everybody was coming up, and what were they protesting? he was just inaugurated 24 hours ago. We didn't do anything.
You know, a funny
There were no
story,
policies.
Funny personal story there. I moved down to D.C. with them. I had been in New York with them, as you know, and so I didn't get here until the very last minute. And same thing, I moved into my apartment, hadn't even seen it, I just rented it, and I go around the corner to find something to eat, and I go into a restaurant, and it's full of these women in these hats, and I thought, oh my goodness, is this where I'm going to be living now? And I started to understand kind of the mentality and the meaning behind the swamp. It was crazy, and you're right, it was 24 hours after the man had been inaugurated and hadn't even started working yet. In the meantime, our stock market's doing better than ever. Our jobs are doing better than ever. He's getting such great results, and it's been really frustrating that we can't break through and get that message out because it's all about impeachment or conspiracies about his health right now.
Well, that's why it's smart that you're doing this today and giving us the opportunity to come in and continually tell the people the truth about what is certainly listeners the truth about what is going on. And we have to look forward to a second term and being able to get the government staff, because there's 4,000 political appointees available when a new administration comes in. You think about that, 4,000, of which we filled a fraction.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
we just haven't had the people.
Yep.
And that's part of the reason. But I remember talking to Stephanie, many people on the landing teams who came into the various agencies at middle level, I don't know what the GS number is, but middle level political appointees who tell me that when they came in, that Obama had staffed the government virtually 100%. So I remember people telling me that they would go to cubicles where people had a phone, no computer. They had a job, but nothing to do. But they were there staffed in case they needed to deploy them somewhere else in OFA during the campaign, the Israel, whatever they were doing. But the OFA people, Obama for America, had it figured out that you basically put 4,000 people in and they're going to figure out how to get your agenda forward. We haven't done that in the first term.
Absolutely. And
does that make sense?
Yes, no, it does. When we came into the White House, I'll tell you something. Every office was filled with Obama books, and we had notes left behind that said, "You will fail. You aren't going to make it."
Really?
Yes. In the press office, there was a big note taped to a door that said, "You will fail," and they had filled the. So this is something we're used to. Thankfully, the campaign trained me, us, the president, all of us, to be tough and to fight and to know that this is going to be a fight in here. And I can't be more proud than even right now with what we're going through to work for this president. I mean, he is getting up truly at 6 a.m. He is on the phone, in meetings, working. It's been hard for me because, we just released, it's pretty historic, the pricing that you're going to see publicly in hospitals so that people can choose hospitals based on pricing. I was thinking, as a single mother, I would have enjoyed being able to choose which hospital I could go to based on prices. So we just unveiled that. It's a huge thing. It's going to move the needle, and that's getting no coverage. And 2 weeks ago, we released a website that will help people who are addicted to opioids find resources in whatever city they're in. Again, no coverage. USMCA, so important for this country, and the Dems won't focus on it. They're just focused on impeachment. So you would think that we would be a White House in crisis, as a certain cable network says, but we're actually a White House very, very united, and we're just going to fight harder, and I think that he will get reelected because of that.
Well, you just got to get the message out, and we're with Stephanie Grisham. She is the press secretary for the President of the United States. She's also the White House Director of Communications and one of the original Trump supporters in Trump Tower, fighting that battle the entire time. And we remember Stephanie from the campaign working so hard there. Stephanie, the president tweeted out, said, you know what, maybe the hell with it. Maybe I'll go down and testify.
He did. He said he would be willing to answer questions in writing. And maybe he will. We'll see what happens.
What is your view on that?
I think he's above that. I think that
I agree.
I think that this House impeachment is truly a sham, and I think that the moving of the goalposts and the behind closed door meetings and Schiff lying about, his relationship with the whistleblower, all of it shows that this is just something out to get the president. And so I think he's above that. I think he should just stay here and work here at the White House. I think in the Senate, maybe we could have him do something, because I think he could get his side out there, because it'll be a little bit more fair. But this process has been, it's been ridiculous. And I tell you, they're now saying, you know, all public, all public. Not really. Just over the weekend, they had some people behind closed doors. So they're still changing the rules. It's really unbelievable. And I don't know if you've heard this, but they're basing now their word choices on focus groups and polling. So they've gone from quid pro quo to bribery. And then, of course, intimidation, witness intimidation from his tweet.
How was that witness intimidation when she couldn't even see the tweet?
She couldn't even, well, Schiff read it to her, but it's not. And also,
witness intimidation.
The president of the United States,
he already fired her. What are you intimidating?
No, actually, do you know she still works in the government? She still works.
She's still there?
She works at the State Department.
She didn't get canned?
Nope, she was recalled 3 months early, and she still has a job at the State Department.
Unbelievable.
And that was the president's opinion, which he has a right to have.
Right.
He's the president.
Well, ambassadors serve at the pleasure of the president.
Absolutely.
Period.
Every
End
president should have a person in a foreign country who they trust representing them. And I don't care what administration it is. I'd also point out, when Obama took office, he got rid of every Bush-appointed ambassador. All of them. Cleaned house.
In 60 days.
Yeah, cleaned house.
Yeah, I mean, what was different, like you said, they had a huge campaign, they had an organization, they had figured this part of the government out.
Yep.
And so we had Commander Zinke on the other day, and this was shocking. He said to us that when Secretary Udall came in, the Interior Department, that he had the entire Interior Department. Think of this, Stephanie. The entire Interior Department, 100% staffed, 3 weeks. He said, I was there a year. I had 15% staffed. I couldn't get people through. I'd hire somebody. There'd be a hit on them. Social media they found from 10 years ago. Couldn't get them through PPO. Couldn't find people. He said 1 year, 15%, 3 weeks, 100%. That's the difference. Incredible.
Mm-hmm. No, I don't disagree. Having come in, I saw it with my own eyes. So it is what it is. Again, we're still fighting through it.
All right, I know you have to go. When you came in and saw those notes, you will fail. Was that eerie? Creepy?
No, it was sad. You know, it was pathetic. I fully intend, when we leave in 6 years, I fully intend to leave a note in my predecessor's drawer, saying good luck to you. I don't care if it's a Dem or a Republican. You're serving your country. It's the highest honor in the world. So if these people couldn't recognize and stay above that, that was on them. And I often wonder if that person regrets it. I would hope so. But it just puts more fight in you.
All right, you got to take off, but we have to give a shout out to Roma over there. She puts together all the radio guests. She's put this radio row together here at the White House. She's doing a fantastic job.
Thank you. I've got a great team. I'm very, very proud of
them. You
them.
really do have a good team.
Absolutely.
And Laura Bowen also. Stephanie Grisham, thank you for being with us today on the John Fredericks Radio Network. You always have fun when you come on the show.
Yeah, this was fun.
I'm the fun show. Thank you, guys.